Phil and Will are back. Something completely unrelated to season 32 tonight. We got a week until season 32, so we're not going to talk about it at all, so we don't beat it to death beforehand. Tonight we're going to do a Survivor Legends podcast. We're going to make a Survivor Legends season. I think it won the voting, I guess you could say, although I think it had like maybe 3 or 4 votes. But still, that's pretty good. That's what the people want to hear, so this is what we're going to talk about. Go ahead, Will.
It's like our MVP and LVP voting. That's how many votes we got. But hey, we're doing Legends.
Nothing, but we roll with it. When we say we're going to do something, we do it. So, all right, Will, say something because I'm out of things already. That's how this podcast is going to go, isn't it?
Oh, I'm excited. Like I'm ready to hop in. I mean, we talk about the contestants so much pre-season that we get bored of them. I was thinking that, we said last podcast, we'll do our power rankings off air. No one wants to hear us run through the 18 names again. I say we don't even do power rankings. I think that's how I lost last time, was just because we did them preseason. If you look at like the Xfinity power rankings or like Inside Survivor power rankings, they all don't start until after the first episode, because that's when we were the only ones doing it.
And I like where your head's at here. If you can't win, change the rules. Like I love that about you. That's fantastic.
Or maybe I didn't win because we were the only ones doing it this way when everyone else waits an episode.
Yeah, but why do you want to be like everybody else? Why do you want to be like everybody else? We're not followers. We're leaders or something.
That's like saying
we make other people pick our topics for podcasts.
I mean, that's like saying we should do this podcast in Spanish because no other podcast does that.
I think that's a lie. I bet somebody post a link to a Spanish-speaking podcast right now in last week's video. Bet you we can do it.
About Survivor?
Oh, you didn't say about Survivor. You just said we should do this one in Spanish because nobody else does.
I'm just saying we're doing power rankings after the first episode. I think it's a great idea. Okay, let's get into this here. Legends. Phil, what do you consider, or who do you consider, or why do you consider who you consider to be a legend?
Well, let's. I'm not going to talk about who I consider yet because I think we have a pretty good idea of how we should do this. We'll kind of run through the seasons a bit, but what I'm going on, and I think
what.
No, well, you said who. I'm not saying who, but here's my thing. I think we're going to be very different on some of this stuff, and to me, a legend is that, like, if it's that person a legend from that season, and you can't think of their name immediately off the top of your head, then they don't belong on this season. They don't belong on a Survivor Legends season. Like somebody from season 1, you could be like, well, I'm just throwing names out there. But you could be like, oh, is Colleen a legend? If you have to sit there and you say season 1, you're not thinking Colleen first. Therefore, she's not a legend. Like, so if you don't think of this name immediately, then they can't qualify as a legend. I think what we're going to run into a problem with here is all of the Survivor Legends, they've also played the game numerous times with the exception of maybe one. They've all played it numerous times, so we might beat it to death a little bit here and make a cast that looks very similar to a Heroes versus Villains or a Second Chance or an All-Stars. I think we might have it a little bit like that. But I think one of the big criteria is you just had to be a huge personality who actually played the game of Survivor. Like actually played. I don't mean like obviously they've all played, but I mean like you actually had to make an impact on your season with gameplay, not just, like Rocky from Fiji. He was a complete idiot. Everybody's if you like Fiji, you remember Rocky, but he's not a Survivor legend because he did nothing for the show in terms of
that dude's a
actual
legend.
Gameplay. No, if he's on your list, then we're just turning the podcast off now.
No, I mean he's not a Survivor legend, but he is a legend.
Oh, he's the man. I loved Rocky. I'd love to watch Rocky play again just because it was so sad. But he was fun.
A problem I had here was it's hard not to do an all-winner season when you're talking about legends, because when you think of a season, you immediately think of the winner. And we've already done we did like a winners draft for like preseason Worlds Apart with like the callers. We did a winners draft. We don't want to do all winners. For me, when I went through these, I'm thinking we do 2 tribes of 10, and then half can be winners, and then the other half non-winners. I don't know if you want to keep it like that formatted, but when I was going through like picking out actual legends of Survivor, I'm talking like this isn't Heroes versus Villains. This isn't like we're going to bring back Sugar and Randy and put them on the same tribe because their seasons, just aired. I'm talking like all-time legends. I don't care if this is your 5th time playing, like legends.
Yeah.
So I think we should, there should be a good amount of winners. I think if there are 10 winners, 10 non-winners, it's honestly, you could maybe do a tribe, winners versus non-winners. Like that could be really cool.
I thought we were doing a legends podcast. Now we're doing a winners versus non-winners podcast.
But they're all legends, like because you could have some tribe.
Well, let's see how it shakes out. Because I don't have my tribes in front of me. I think we should I think that it's more fun. We roll through the seasons, kind of name the people who could be considered legends, and then why or why not we're going to throw them on there. And because I think people are going to want to hear, like, if we leave somebody off, people are going to be like, why did you leave that person off? Because they might be on the cusp of possibly being a legend. So I think that we kind of need to draw attention to it.
I just want to say before we start, I think I have the female tribe exactly.
There's not that many females. In defense of Jeff Probst, you look at this, there really isn't that many. Well, in terms of – yeah, go ahead.
That has to do with editing too. It's not just because there aren't as many good players. It's just they get edited differently than men. But that's all we can go on.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, I'm not going to sit here and put Hope from 26 on this season because she was cute. No, like, she didn't do anything. And it's not because Jeff Probst hates her. She just didn't do anything. So, yeah, I mean, do you want to let's just start with season 1 and kind of roll through? And, I mean, the obvious one from season 1 is Hatch. I mean, what do you –
We're going Hatch here. We have to include that.
No, Hatch, 100%. I mean, if you start a legend season, if he's not the first person cast – granted, he might be in jail or he might be overseas or he might be wherever the hell he is. I don't even know what he does anymore. But, like, yeah, I feel like Hatch has to be the number 1 overall pick for this entire thing.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think we need to talk about anything else. I did consider Sue because I was running out of there weren't that many females, but we don't want Sue and Richard playing on the same season again. I
didn't like Sue. I'm going to be honest with you. Sue's like one of my least favorite characters from the early seasons. I thought she was kind of forced. I thought she was kind of like just there. I'm glad we haven't really seen another Sue Hawk on the show. I hated her in All-Star. She was a pain in the ass. Like, I get what Richard did to her was messed up, but like her reaction came like 3 days later. She was a pain in the ass the entire time she was on that tribe. Like, I don't know. Just not a big Sue fan. The other one too here, just because right now I'm reading that book by Mario Lanza. He does like another podcast, and he wrote a book like all about like the first 3 seasons of Survivor. And since I was like 5 years old, I wanted to read it just to see kind of what he was talking about. And he talks about the impact that Rudy was having on this whole game and like on the audience and everything. Like Rudy, I mean, he's way too old now and all that stuff, but like he at least has to be mentioned in this podcast because he really was. Everybody thought he was going to win the game. Everybody thought that this 72-year-old guy was going to end up winning this entire game, and everybody loved him. And you look at the things he says, and you look at the things he does, and then you look at how that's viewed on TV now, he would be, like, executed if he said half that stuff on TV now. But back then, it was like he was the fan favorite, which is really insane. And he was 72 years old. He made it all the way to the final 3 and would have probably won had he sat there at the end.
Yeah, I like Rudy. To go all the way to put him in the legends, we're doing 10 males all time on Survivor. I don't think Rudy quite makes the cut, but definitely an honorable mention. Glad you mentioned him at least.
Yeah. Don't be sad. Don't be sad. Is there anybody else from season 1? I don't think there's really anybody else from season 1. Wigglesworth proved she's not a legend. Wigglesworth proved that this season that she's
well, she was, and I think we've just seen another. I think there are some legendary players that we don't need for a legend season also. I don't know if that totally makes sense. Let me try to think of a good explanation here. Characters or players that their story is kind of played out and they're kind of, we don't need to see them again. And this doesn't mean you cross anyone off the list who has played this many times. But, I mean, you look at someone, let's just go right to season 2. You look at Colby. Like, Colby and Jerri, like, that's done. Like, we don't need to see any more of that. Are they Survivor legends? Probably, but
no, they absolutely are. I mean, you can't say probably. I mean, Colby and Jerri are absolutely.
Right, they are, but we
absolutely
don't need another season.
No, I mean, I think you keep both of them on the cusp. Like I said, I haven't made up my tribes. I think Colby and Jerri both need to be left on the cusp because they're literally Yeah, I know everybody like watched season 1 and season 2 like didn't have as many viewers, but Colby and Jerri were probably like the first big household names here that like people like really like they started to connect with the characters more. I feel like in season 2, season 1 it was like the adventure, season 2 it was like, oh, we're connecting with people, and Colby and Jerri were like the most talked about people ever. It was insane. And I mean, like to not even consider them or say like, oh, they're not like, are they legends? Probably. I mean, come on, man. Like,
No, they are, but are they like
Come
top
on.
tier? Need to see them again? I'm thinking no, especially I mean with Colby, it's like
Colby fell apart. I wouldn't mind seeing Jerri again, and with how few women there are, I really wouldn't mind seeing Jerri again.
I just think we've seen. I think just their arc is so perfect. I mean, they played in 3 seasons, and they were in all 3 seasons together, and I think it ended really nicely in Heroes versus Villains. I wouldn't want to mess up that kind of. I think there's a lot of closure to both those characters over like multi-year, multi-season arc that is sitting really well at this point.
Now, that really is like probably that's like one of the great arcs like ever.
Oh, it's
like
the
fact that took it took 19 seasons for an arc on TV to completely play out. You had them hating each other to literally Jerri only wanting to beat Colby, and then at the end they're actually almost working together in Heroes versus Villains, and like Colby's the last remaining hero, and once again Jerri beats him. But like if the two of them would have worked together, they probably would have went to the final 3, and Jerri might have won that season.
Yeah, possibly. And even if you don't look at them as like a pair, I just don't want to see Colby like if he goes and plays again, he becomes less of a legend. That's also something I want to take into consideration.
I feel like, and we're gonna get to him obviously when we get there, but I feel like he almost went through the Rupert, where if Rupert would have ended after Heroes versus Villains, I know people were tired of Rupert, but Rupert was the most popular character like in Survivor history. Like Rupert was insanely popular. Wins fan favorite at the All-Stars, like all this stuff. If he ends at Heroes versus Villains, he finishes 6th place. Yeah, he was still kind of whiny. He was still kind of a baby. But like what that Heroes tribe went through for him to get all the way to 6th, if that would have been the last season he was on, I think that he's an absolute lock. But he played one too many times, and he was so like Blood versus Water. There's no reason for Rupert to be on that season. Like there was just absolutely no reason. We didn't need him to be there. And then I feel like him and Colby are kind of similar, where like their storylines just fizzled to the point where it was like, oh, okay, that's how they're going out forever.
Yeah, I exactly with Rupert. It's like you go Heroes vs. Villains was almost a legend season. I mean, that's as close as we've gotten to a legend season. So to play in that and then to do another season when you've already played twice, it is Rupert's done in my opinion. I also from season 2, I think Tina. I know she's played 3 times, but the last time she played, she got like what 4th place.
Yeah, and she's another one. If she makes it to the end of Blood vs. Water, she wins. And it's crazy with Tina. She was on season 2, wins. Season 8, first person voted out, completely gone from Survivor, comes back for season 27. And like she never lost a step. She was just as ruthless, just as crazy. I mean, Tina's one of those like you can't believe she won the game. And then like you hear her talk and you see the way she actually plays, and she's pretty ruthless. Like
she's a great strategic and social player. I mean, Australia wasn't really showcasing strategy at that point. That wasn't really, I mean, that's when you, like you said, getting into characters, still a lot about the survival aspect, challenges. I mean, if they had shown Tina behind the scenes, I think she, one of the, top strategists and social players, like everyone loved her. Everyone loved Tina. And they still did.
The ultimate hero. Like,
right. She beat Colby. So I have Tina. I mean, I think I like Tina over Jerri and Colby for sure.
Okay, I have all 3 of them like on my outside looking in type deal here, just because like Hatch, he was a definite. Like when you say Hatch, you put him on this season, he could have played the game 45 times. He still goes on this season. So like Hatch, I have definitely in there. The other ones I kind of have, I have them like being considered. I just want to see how we play it out, what other names we throw out there, if there's any definites, and if you end up with 9 definites, and then you have Jerri and Tina sitting there on the outside, then we'll have a debate. But I think Tina's fantastic. I had her written down.
I'm just letting you know I have Tina as a definite, just because she is a legend. Like she is.
Okay.
She's
Okay.
more legendary than many females to play. And I think we'll see that we don't have many females. Yeah. And Tina is like top 5 legendary females of all time. Let's move to season 3. I have really no one I want to see play again. Maybe Lex. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it really totally does come down to Lex, Big Tom, and Ethan. Those are the only ones that you can really consider.
We're not putting Big Tom on a legend.
No. I'm a huge Big Tom fan. I still, you see, you never want to let anybody speak their piece. See, this is why we have to go through every single season, because otherwise Will would just be like, no, not that one. No, not that one.
This is why I want to cut you off, because why are we have to go through 31 seasons?
Well, no, but somebody like Big Tom.
We're dwelling on Big Tom, like
somebody. Oh my God, dude! Somebody like Big Tom, like he was huge. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I feel like you're only going to look at people like, oh, they made such great moves, such great strategic moves. Big Tom is like one of the original legends of this show. If it wasn't for Big Tom, who knows if this show would still be. Big Tom and Lex like need serious consideration here, especially Lex. I think Lex is more than Big Tom. I think Lex seriously needs consideration. He was part of one of the most cutthroat moments in all of Survivor history. Him on Africa, he was incredible. Yeah. I would love to see Lex play a third time. I just think he hates
That's
the
when
show.
We got to Africa. I said I got Lex, and that's it.
Yeah, but I said Big Tom. You can't just pass over Big Tom. Like,
I am passing over Big Tom because we're not going to put him in our list. We have to go through 30 seasons. This is not going to be a 3-hour podcast, Phil.
It's not going to be a 3-hour podcast. You're right. You know what? You take it from here, Will. Go ahead. Run through it. Let's see what you got. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. I would say Africa. Ethan played out. Don't need to see him again. Big Tom comes back for All Stars. Yeah, he's a fun character.
He almost came back for Blood vs. Water.
Not one of the top 10 legends. I don't even know how his health is doing right now. He's probably getting pretty old. So I'm going to pass on Big Tom. Let's roll on to Marquesas. I got one here.
You got Kathy in for sure, right?
Well, I have 2, actually, now that you mentioned that. I have Kathy for sure. She's a lock. She only played twice. Total legend. One of the biggest turnarounds probably ever in Survivor. Where she was,
maybe Chris. Yeah.
Or Lisa. But
yeah.
She's a great character. Everyone pretty much thinks like she should have won. Not should have won, but she gets to the end in Marquesas. She wins for sure. And then I have Boston Rob. And you can, say he's played 4 times. It's not like Colby where the last time he played, he was kind of, as James says, a Superman in a fat suit or something like that. Rob won the last time he played. If he goes out there with other winners, like I want to see Boston Rob actually play against a really strong cast. I think I would really enjoy that because I like Rob as a player, but that Redemption Island was so bad because no one else was playing. If you get 19 other legends, it's going to be fun.
And when he played on Heroes versus Villains, that was pretty much 19 other legends, and he got 13th place. You know what I mean? So, my whole thing with Boston Rob is you were just making the whole statement about Colby. His storyline played out. His fizzled out. Rob's storyline played out. And I think Rob has to be on, a legend season. If they do a legend season, obviously Boston Rob is going to be on it. But Rob's storyline is played. He was the guy who the first season, he was the only strategist in the game. The second time he comes out, he gets married, he gets to the end, but he loses. The third time he plays, he gets screwed over by his own alliance. Just totally his game was screwed up by no one other than himself. So it's like, can he get the redemption and win his game? And he does. I don't know what else you can get from Boston Rob's storyline. I think that if he does come back on a season, like a legend season, I think he might be the first boot from that season. Even though everybody's a huge threat, I just think people are tired of hearing about Boston Rob.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I just think we're doing a legend season, and I don't want to just say, look, I think Rob's played too many times. Like, he is one of the most legendary players to ever play Survivor, without a doubt. And I think you put him on a season where everyone else is a threat. It's like, who are you going to target first when you have just not – that's why I don't want Big Tom on the season, because then you just – it's like, man – he's going to be a GOAT, or he's just going to, get voted out for being weak at challenge. I mean, it just – if
Big
you
Tom
have
wasn't 10 a GOAT in Africa, though. I don't really remember his All-Stars.
No, he wasn't. The game has changed. He would not fare well in, season 40 Survivor Legends. He would.
You're gonna base this too much on strategy.
That's the age we're in. That's why we
Yeah,
podcast.
but you're basing it too much on that. Like if you're doing a legend season, you
I'm
can't
talking
just
about
throw out anybody who's not a strategist. Like you can't just do that.
That's not true. That's not we're on season 4 here, Phil. Okay, that's not true. That's not the case. I want Boston Rob on our season, but I mean, hey, if you don't, we'll have to discuss it. But he is.
I'm going to make you discuss everything. I'm going to make you go through this because I want to see who you keep shutting down and who you don't. But anyway, Boston Rob, he's probably going to end up here because there's really, I mean, if you do a legend season, it's kind of like Hatch. How do you not put Boston Rob on it? It's just
exactly
my whole thing is Boston Rob is on my season, so I'll put Boston Rob on here. My biggest problem is you sitting here saying that, oh, Colby's storyline played out, Jerry's storyline played out, therefore they're no longer legends. Boston Rob's storyline completely played out. So you can't sit here and say those guys aren't legends, but Boston Rob still is. So that's all I'm saying here.
I already made my argument that last time Colby played, he was like burnt out physically. Like he wasn't.
But Jerry wasn't.
He wasn't the star that he was in season 2 or even season 8. Last time Rob played, he, ran the table. He dominated. I want to see him play with Kim. I want to see.
So you're putting Kim on this season, huh?
Well, obviously.
Oh, I thought you would just throw out all of One World.
Okay, let's move on to season 5. I really don't have anybody.
No, the only one you could put is Brian, but he's not a legend.
But then we're doing all winners.
Yeah, he's not a legend.
He isn't a legend. I mean, he might be to you, he might be to me, but he's not like in the grand scheme of things like a legend of this game. So
he's not going to draw viewers. Like really, like if Survivor's ever going to do a legend season, it's going to be who can draw the most viewers. So sorry guys, but Rupert's going to end up on that season. But somebody like Brian, he'll never be on it. He would never be here.
Yeah, I love the guy. Want to see him play again. Maybe an all-winner season, but not for legends. Let's roll to season 6. Amazon. I have 2 here. I think you probably only have 1.
I have 2.
Okay, I'm interested to see who. I mean, we're going to go Rob Cesternino. He's only played twice. He's a huge threat, but again, that's why this legend season I want the biggest threats possible so that no one is an easy first boot.
Yeah, and here's where I was saying we're kind of similar to All-Stars. For our first 4 people that we have as definites, Richard, Boston Rob, Cesternino, and Kathy, all on All-Stars. So just throwing that out there. But yeah, Cesternino has to absolutely be on this season. Even with the podcasting and everything he's done. He's stayed relevant to everybody and if actually get to play. Because in All-Stars he didn't get to play. He did not get to play at all.
Right. Who's your second?
All right. I actually have the 2 names sitting there. Are you going to go Heidi?
Yeah, I am.
I knew you were going to go Heidi. Because she got naked for chocolate and peanut butter.
One of the most legendary moments in Survivor history.
But wouldn't you put Jenna over Heidi then?
No, because Jenna got her second chance, and I know it didn't, go well and wasn't her fault. But I don't need to see Jenna play again. I think Heidi's like the smarter player.
You love Heidi. You're a huge Heidi fan.
I am a huge Heidi fan. And she never got to come back after all this time. And she is one of the most iconic, honestly, that moment from the early days is one of the best ones. I think
here's the problem.
The fair play grandma thing is the only thing above it.
Here's the only problem with this right now. The only problem with this is you saying Heidi, yes, she was a part of the biggest moment ever. Obviously, I'm not arguing that at all. Most people don't remember who the hell Heidi is, though. Most people do not remember that it was her.
Okay, all right.
That's all I'm saying.
If your whole thing is about the getting TV and getting people to watch, all they need is a promo. 20 years ago, got naked. Everyone instantly remembers, oh my gosh, that girl's coming back. That's legendary. That's Legends season. That's instant recognition by everyone, not even Survivor fans. Everyone remembers that.
What does she look like now?
I don't know what she looks like now, but
I'm just saying.
And also Jenna won. We can pick Jenna, but it's then we're just loading up on winners.
So you're really saying that you'd put Heidi on here over Jerri?
Yeah, And it's
See, I don't
also
agree with that.
we've seen Jerri play 3 times.
Yeah, but if you're doing a legend season, if you're just going based on legendariness, Jerry's a bigger legend than Heidi, and there's no arguing that. Jerry was a household name. Heidi
right, no, that's true. That's totally true. And I think
I mean,
Rupert's a legend, but I don't want Rupert on this season either.
yeah, but there's so many more guys. Here's my problem.
Okay.
If you look at Rupert, you're going to look at somebody like Rupert, and you're going to put Richard over him, Boston Rob over him, Rob C over him. You look at somebody like Jerri, you can't sit here and say Heidi deserves to be on a legend season more than Jerri. And I get that she was a part of the biggest moment probably in the history of the show, other than the dead grandma thing. But I'm not buying that. I'm just not buying that.
Here's where I am. If you want to do a podcast where we just rank legendary players, we can do that. This is not what this is. This is coming up with a season where we need.
So pretty much what you're saying is if I disagree with you, I am wrong, and therefore we're just going to do whatever your two tribes were, and that's that.
No, not at all.
That's 100% what I'm getting.
I'm saying your argument is that Jerri is
incredibly valid. It makes complete sense.
Jerry's more of a legend. I don't want to just rank legends here. I want to make an interesting, fun season with people we haven't seen play a million times. And I know we've seen Boston Rob play, but yeah, I think he'd actually contribute. Jerri, I don't know. She was like okay in Heroes versus Villains, I guess. She wasn't like phenomenal. Heidi hasn't played since season 6, and I don't know. It's like who there really aren't many other options for females, but
I just said one with Jerri being over Heidi.
Okay, like we can kind of figure that out later. But Heidi's in the mix. I'll
put her in the mix. I'll put her in the mix, but I want to see who she's getting in over. I'll put her in the mix. Yeah, go to 7. Fair plays on this season, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Simple. Okay. That's it. I also
Sandra's on. Yeah, she won twice. Sandra's on. That's easy. Okay.
Yep.
So we agreed on something. Those two are simple.
Those are locks. Okay, let's go to All-Stars.
Yeah, there's no reason to. All right.
I got no one for Vanuatu.
No one. The only one, Chris is iffy, but nobody remembers Chris. How do you get Chris to play this game again? It's not on this season. How the hell do we get Chris to play?
You need to do an all-winter season. That's when you're getting Brian back. That's when you're getting Chris back. I kind of grouped them together. They're like they're great winners from early seasons that no one really cared about or watches, and they haven't returned since. So I kind of grouped them together. They're not really legends because no one really knows who they are unless you're, a real true longtime fan. And even if you are, a lot of people, forget. Let's move to season 10. No one from Palau.
See, so you're not going to put. I don't like her, but you wouldn't put Stephanie here. Just because her story, like you said earlier with Colby, it fizzled out in Heroes vs. Villains.
I'm not even talking about fizzling out. That's not really what I'm getting at. I was talking about him physically fizzling out. That's where I was at with Colby. That he's not going to perform at the legend level. And Boston Rob, he's still at the legend level. He played a few years ago and dominated, so he's still there. I think, Stephanie, she had a perfect storyline. There's closure to it. And same with Colby. There's closure. She was like America's sweetheart and then like the huge bitch. And her legendary, she's a legend because of Palau, not because of Guatemala. And she's already played after Guatemala and gone down. I think that's what it is. You need to continually get better, and then you can be on legends. You can't go up then down and be on legends. I hear that. I didn't even think about that.
I'm not really making an argument about putting Rupert on this season. I just think that these people need to be considered. Obviously, if this were to happen, Rupert's on this season. If Survivor ever did a Legends season, Rupert is 100%. He's probably the second or third person they call after Coach Russell and Boston Rob. You know what I mean? That's just how it is.
Right. Yeah, he probably is, but he has played 4 times, and last time went so poorly. But yeah, it's hard to see a Legend season without him. But the good news is, I think we're more likely to get an all-winner season than.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that's where you'd see somebody like Tom maybe even come back again, because I know in Heroes vs. Villains he had a rough go, but that seemed like new school versus old school in the Heroes versus Villains thing on that Heroes tribe. At least that's kind of what happened a little bit. It was new school versus old school. And I know Tom was old school and all that, but if you think about that, Stephanie was was old school, but then James, Amanda, Sari, all new school. They all teamed up. You know what I mean? Sari went home. I'm sorry. But I feel like that was a little bit of a new school versus old school type deal. I don't know. It just Tom didn't fit in with the young kids. So I think he'd come back for a winners, but not a legends.
Exactly. I like Tom a lot, but not at that legendary level. Let's
Nobody from
roll.
11.
Oh, I have Sari.
No, she's in 12.
Oh, 11's Guatemala, right?
Yeah. And nobody's been back since. So
yeah, no one's legendary there. 12 Panama. I have Sari, and that's all I got.
yeah. How the hell do you
She's
get
a
Shane
lot.
back on the show? Shane will never get back on the show, huh?
Yeah, no, he already said he's not ever going back.
You saw what happened with this whole scooping thing. Did you see Shane's tweet?
No, what do you say?
It was just like you let a was like a pedophile plays twice, I play once. Like, it was just
right.
Like,
Yeah,
it's something along those lines. But yeah, Shane's really pissed off at this show that he didn't get to play. I think he got hosed for Second Chance, and I think he knows it. So
everyone knows it. I mean, everyone except the people who voted.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We all know that Shane was supposed to be on that season. All right, obviously 13. You got to put Parvati.
Yep.
Right. You put Ozzy.
Ozzy is on the fence for me.
Okay,
Ozzy's on the fence. Just because I think he did have a great outing in his last season with South Pacific, but I mean, if he his legendary status is really like Cook Islands is when he's legend.
Yeah, and then because fans versus favorites, he's only known for getting blindsided, and then
he kind of dipped. He went, boom, boom, and then he kind of got
South
back.
Pacific. He was good though.
He's on the upswing. He's definitely on the upswing. I definitely am considering Ozzy. We leave him on the kind of consider.
And somebody like Penner, you're just done on, huh? You just hate Penner.
No, I like Penner a lot. I just every time he's gone out, it's like, especially Philippines, it's like that was his fault. He got voted off. I don't. There's too many better players and players I want to see than Penner, and I like Penner a lot. But you know what? We'll leave him in the mix. I know you really like him, so
Look at that. There's give and take. It's like our relationship could keep going. We don't have to get divorced yet.
Yeah.
We'll keep it going. 14. It's either Yao-Man or Earl or nobody, right?
Yeah, and I'm not even considering really either of them, just because Yao-Man, yes, but again, it's that he was a legend and then he got voted out. What, second, third in Micronesia?
Here's the thing though with the Micronesia
deal. And I know
I would like to, I feel like he's like with Sesternino. He's kind of got the Sesternino vibe with Yao-Man, where he was so great his first season, fell just short, comes out the next time, doesn't get a chance. I would love to see him play a third time to see if he had a chance in hell. Because people forget, Yao-Man is a legend, but people who would play the game would kind of forget how good Yao-Man really was at the game, because who the hell wants to go back and rewatch Fiji? And you're obviously not going to get anything out of Yao-Man in Micronesia. Yao-Man and Rob Sesternino are on the same level in terms of legendariness, but Yao-Man definitely needs to be considered in the mix here, because him and Rob Sesternino follow the exact same storyline.
It's very true. I was just going to say, I'm sure I sound like a hypocrite when saying the whole peak argument. But I guess for, players like that who really, they don't even get a chance to play. Like Penner had a chance to really make a big move in Philippines, but it was really his fault. He couldn't secure that Final Four deal or Final Five deal. So, yeah.
I would put Yao-Man over Penner.
I would too. Oh, easily. For 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll figure that out when we actually get to that. All right, so 15, China's the best season, but I want to hear who you think.
I got 2, maybe 3, James, Todd, and Courtney.
See, that's what I like to hear. That's my favorite season. I think Amanda's done. I was done with Amanda after China. I wasn't a big fan of her in Micronesia. I like the move that she made in Micronesia with the idol play and everything, but I've always thought Amanda was a little overrated. Wasn't really that excited to see her play Heroes versus Villains again. Courtney, James, and Todd, oh my God. You could just put the three of them out there every time. Courtney's fantastic. James has gotten screwed every time he's played since his boneheaded move. It's like the Survivor guys just absolutely despise him since he made that stupid move. He gets injured with a finger, and then he tears his ACL or whatever the hell he did in Heroes versus Villains. Heroes versus Villains, yeah, he was a villain on the Heroes tribe, but if James doesn't get hurt, James probably finishes in the top, 6 or 7 of that, whatever the hell it would be, because he would have made the merge. They would have never kept Colby over James if James didn't get hurt.
Yeah, and James had a lot of connections to the villains over there, just from Micronesia. Him and Poverty were real close. Yeah, I really like James. I think, especially because he got hurt twice. He didn't get voted out after his first season. So kind of,
Well, he did get voted out in Heroes versus Villains. He made them vote him out.
I guess that's true. He did get voted out, but he had to do that like running contest with James.
Remember,
with JT.
they voted Tom Weston out before they voted out James.
Yeah, that's right.
After James got hurt. I mean, I would love to see James play again. James, everybody always forgets how funny James was as a
he's
character.
my favorite. James in China is the best.
And I know some people would be like, oh, he's played out all this. He was just a dick in Heroes vs. Villains. I'd love to see the real James get back out there, get another shot, and actually play the game. I don't think people would look at him as a threat if he ever played again either. I think he's just a little forgotten by players.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I really like James on here. I like Courtney a lot because struggling to rack up the female numbers. So I'm really in on Courtney. She's just one of the most fun players to watch. Then we have Todd. On the fence here with Todd just because he is a winner. I don't know if he'll come back. I don't know if really considering real life scenarios, probably not, just because Parvati, works for CBS, and that I think makes you ineligible. Anyway,
I'm sure that would make her ineligible. I'm sure they wouldn't make an exemption for Parvati. Oh my God. So I guess we lost Will for a bit here. How annoying is Will, right? Like, how annoying. He sits there. He doesn't let me make any of my picks. I hope he's actually can't hear me. But he doesn't let me make any of my picks. His internet sucks, always. Doesn't matter where he is. Right now, he's not in Tahoe. He's sitting here in Los Angeles. In front of the screen he always sits in front of. It always works. And now here we are sitting here, probably because he just keeps on disagreeing. I mean, somebody comment on something. Somebody tweeted us or something. How do you put Heidi over Jerri? Can somebody tell me this, please? Like, I get like that she was part of probably the biggest moment, but how do you put that? Oh, wait, never mind. I'll stop talking shit now. Will, you're back. How are you? Wasn't sure if you were still hanging in there,
I've been here the whole time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no. I didn't go on a tangent about how much you suck at everything. So anyway, yeah, Todd I'm on the fence about. I feel like Todd almost gets the Brian Chris situation. If it's a winter season, he's got to come back, but I think that might be the only way Todd comes back.
I don't know. He is a legend. For me, for some reason, he's like more legendary than Chris or Brian. And it might just because he's more recent, and it'd be fun to see him like play with James and play with Courtney again if they happen to, be on the season also.
I think something cool with Todd and with Courtney. They're legendary, I think, because they were the underdogs the entire time. They went all the way to the final three. Todd wins it. Courtney ends up almost winning, getting second place. And they were just underdogs the whole time. And there's a legendariness to being an underdog. Time people like you. That's why Yao Man's a legend, because he was such an underdog stepping onto that island. And then he played well on top of that. And that's the thing with Todd and Courtney. So I could easily see Todd being on this season. Courtney, I feel like you have to, just because there's not as many women, and Courtney's by far the funniest female player of all time. And she's so much fun. And I think she's a legend because everybody remembers, here's the little tiny girl who weighed 45 pounds, and she played the game twice, and one time she almost won the damn thing.
Right, yeah, I'm all on board for Courtney. Let's take this to the fans and fans' favorites, Micronesia, and just skip right over them.
Yeah.
Then we're going to Tocantins.
No, you go to Gabon. See, you don't even know your seasons.
I always get
your favorite season.
I get Gabon and Tocantins mixed up, 17 and 18. And then I get Guatemala and Panama, 11 and 12. Get them mixed up. Those are the only two I get mixed up. Going to Gabon, no, nobody.
Really? You wouldn't put anybody from Gabon, huh? I'm not saying I would. I'm just shocked that you wouldn't put anybody because I know it's like one of your top 5 favorite seasons.
I think it's the best cast, but none of them are legends. I mean, if Kenny had gotten any sort of callback, he probably is a legend. Mm-hmm. If Maddie gets called back, probably a legend. I don't need to see Bob play again.
I think Randy playing the second time and doing shitty is why he's not a legend. And Corinne playing a second time screwed her too. If Corinne only plays once, Corinne's probably easily on here, but she only played once.
Yeah, I don't need to see anybody play again here. Let's go to Tocantins. I don't need to see Coach play again. That's really what it comes down to. I think he is a legendary Survivor character, personality. I don't want him on this season.
I gotta say, I've been reading the Inside Survivor's been doing their top 50 countdown or whatever, and they did the episode the other day of Coach his boot episode in Token Chains, and to me that might be the most legendary episode of the show. Like just in terms of focusing on one character, that might be the most legendary send off in the history of the show. I mean, Coach is so much larger than life. I can't throw him out. I know you probably don't want to see him play again. I don't really care to see him play him again, but like. He's just.
I mean, if you get to the final two and lose, that Ozzy's right there, but he, lost to Yule. I don't know. I think if you get to the final two and lose, I don't know if you're allowed on this season. I think we're looking at people like
What if you get to the final three and lose?
Like Rob Sesternino. I'm saying if we're looking at these people who just missed it, who were so close to winning, and they couldn't do it. I have Malcolm coming up in a bit that I think he would probably be on this season realistically, and I think it'd just be good to have some young blood because we're going so far back here. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not feeling Coach here. He got the end in South Pacific and didn't get the votes. And I think that's a fitting way for him to kind of end his Survivor career.
I think you got to leave Coach in the mix just because it's Coach. JT, Steven, Tyson, I don't think you need to see any of them play again. I love Tyson, but there's no reason. JT wasn't – I was never as big on JT as everybody else. And then Steven, I think he got the send-off that he deserved. He went out thinking that he was a huge strategic mind, and he shot himself in the foot just because he was such a mess on that whole season.
Right, yeah, I don't need – they played – we're good.
Hey, man. The question of all questions.
Yes.
The question of all questions.
I don't think this is the biggest question.
I think it is. I don't know who would be more polarizing to throw here.
I say it's 100% yes. We didn't even discuss Rupert at Pearl Islands. We
kind of discussed it beforehand. I mean, my thing with Rupert is the blood versus water thing screwed him. If he stopped
I agree.
Versus villains, I'd keep him on the season because he is probably the most memorable character ever. But he screwed himself by playing blood versus water. I think that kills him.
Yeah, I'm going 100% yes on Russell.
Okay. See, I think Russell has to be on this season, and exactly. I think we've gotten enough of a break from Russell now. As weird as that is to say, we've gone 10 seasons without Russell. We're about to go through our 10th season without Russell. You never know how somebody's going to change in those 10 seasons. We got Rupert 7, 8, and then we didn't get him until 20 again. So there's a lot that goes into this, and I think if Russell's changed at all, if people would give him any sort of chance, especially on this type of legend season, if him and Boston Rob start on the same tribe, would Boston Rob try to work with him? Or would Boston Rob just be like, screw this guy, I hate him still? You know what I mean? So would people look at Russell in the game, or would they just let him walk to the end again and know he's going to lose?
Yeah, I mean, Robin Russell was so great in Heroes vs. Villains, and then what you do, they let's bring back this rivalry. Let's bring them back 2 seasons later, give them their own tribes of complete zombies. That's not Survivor. Put them on the same tribe with 8 other ballers. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what we have as locks right now, it's Hatch, Boston Rob, Sesternino, Fairplay, James, and Russell. I mean, I could see any of them teaming up with Russell and giving him a chance in hell. Of course. You don't have your larger-than-life hero in Rupert on this tribe, how Rupert was like, Russell's disgusting. We all hate him. I feel like people might even look at Russell as almost a little bit of a joke at this point.
Yeah. I want him on. No one else from Samoa. No one comes close. Let's go to 21. Nobody. 22. Nobody. 23. Consideration for Sophie, but I don't think she's legendary.
That's who I put on here too. Sophie was the only one, but she's not like, if you're going to look at legendary people, Jerri, Tina, Heidi, who I have on the cusp right now, which Tina's going to end up on the season, but Jenna, Tina, Heidi, all better than Sophie. I like Sophie. I thought Sophie was an underrated player, but they're all better than Sophie. Nobody remembers Sophie, and she only played 8 seasons ago, whatever it was. Yeah,
and where we're headed, let's just do this. We're 24, we have Kim. She's a lock. And then we're going to 25, Denise. She's a lock.
Yeah.
So, I like Sophie, but we have, we want to not make it an all-winner season. No one else from One World. Philippines, I like Malcolm. I think, he's only played twice. He was a fun player. He's got we need that kind of youthful charm, because we're really, when we look at this, we have Hatch, the two Robs, maybe
Fair
Todd.
play is old.
Fair
James
play
is old.
Yeah. So I think we need someone like Malcolm, and he can be kind of like the young bro. And he's much more legendary than Joe. Something to be said for Ozzy, but I think Malcolm's kind of the one that would appear on this season.
Yeah, I think we've seen so much of Ozzy that if you put Ozzy on this season, all of a sudden it really is turning into fans versus, or I'm sorry, like a fans versus favorites type deal. It's amazing to me. This pretty much speaks to it. Ozzy didn't make the heroes versus villains cut. So why is he going to make the cut for a legend season? You know what I mean? Like, Ozzy would have played heroes versus villains, I'm pretty sure, but he didn't. And I kind of think that speaks to where everybody was at with Ozzy. And he comes back for South Pacific. He was kind of cool, but come on, was he really that good?
Yeah, I think Malcolm's better fit. Season 26, no one from the fans.
The only one I would give any consideration to is Reynolds. I think Reynolds should play again. I don't know if he did enough, but I think Reynolds should play again.
Not even close. Actually, we didn't discuss this in South Pacific. I mean, I would consider Cochran, and I know his win wasn't the best, but you throw him out there, I wouldn't mind seeing Cochran play again with, in a legend season.
Yeah, I think you put Cochran in the mix. We have a lot of people in the mix right now.
Right.
And we only have 3 spots left on the men's side.
Okay.
So I think you throw him in the mix. I think you're right, though. I completely forgot about Cochran because I just lump him in as the season 26 winner, and I forget that he even did anything in 23.
Right.
Because really, he didn't do that much in 23. But, this goes back to Courtney and Todd. He's an underdog. That's what made him likable in the first place. But then he won, so is his story kind of over? 27, Hayden and Sierra are the only 2 I've written down. Would you consider either of them?
No, didn't even think about it.
Okay. 28, Tony's a definite, right?
Lock, 100%.
Okay. Do you put Spencer still?
No, I don't go Spencer. I don't think he got 4th place and then 2nd place, or tied for 2nd place. There's an argument there. Maybe it's because I just saw him play. I think he's in the mix. Definitely.
He kind of does what you said with Coach. He made it to the end and he lost.
Yeah,
that's a single vote.
He didn't get any votes. That's really that's going to seal the deal, and he's going to be on the outside looking in. Cass would be the only other one. I don't know. It's like,
put her on the outskirts.
Yeah, really, really on the outskirts there. I think there are other more legendary women. 29.
Well, 29. Jeremy or Natalie?
I'd go neither. Actually, I have someone else. Can you guess?
Hang on, Baylor. Please be Baylor. Baylor should have been the first pick on this thing. I know it's not Baylor. Baylor was the best, though. So if it is Baylor, then you can do Baylor.
Keith. No, I'm kidding.
Baylor.
Kelly Wentworth.
Dude, I forgot she was on that season. See, this is what I'm talking about. You forget these people are on this damn season. Kelly Wentworth, you're 100% right on, because her story is just going up and up and up.
It's going up
and everybody liked her last season. I mean, people might have started to get a little annoyed because they're going to complain anytime anybody does anything on the show. But, yeah, Wentworth.
Yeah, I think she's a lock, honestly, just because you need some new blood. You can't just go pack it in with season 1 to 10. So, yeah, she's played 29-31, and I think she's, perfect to be kind of a new school. And she was fun to watch, and she's a player. So I like Kelly Wentworth. I don't consider anyone else from San Juan del Sur. Not even Jeremy, just because I think Jeremy's just done. I don't need to see Jeremy play again. He wasn't even that much fun to watch in Second Chance. Season 30.
Somebody pull up all the clips of Will just loving Jeremy. Somebody pull up all those clips.
I think he played really well, but he wasn't the most exciting.
You loved him. You would have slept with the guy if he would have asked you.
He was on my fantasy and my winner pick. I had to. I mean, I like the way he played the game. He played almost a perfect game. He won 10-0 with all.
He played a
hell of a game from Jeremy. I don't need to see him play again. definitely not going anybody from Worlds Apart. No one even.
Yeah, no, Worlds Apart, you can forget. So here's what we got. We got 8 guys and 8 girls that are definites. We got Steve creeping in the corner. We got 8 guys. We got 8 girls that are definites. So the girls list is way shorter here. And
we'll read the 8 just so we can get the recap. Read the 8 females, and then we'll fill in the last 2 spots.
The 8 females are Kathy, Sandra, Sari, Parvati, Kim, Denise, Wentworth. What's nice about that is a lot of them haven't played together. I know Parvati, Courtney, and Sandra were all in the same tribe in Heroes vs. Villains, but Parvati never teamed up with them. Courtney and Sandra were together. But like Sari and Parvati, they were kind of close, but it seemed like they weren't going to get back together. Kathy hasn't played with any of them. Denise hasn't played with any of them. Wentworth hasn't played with any of them. Kim hasn't played with any of them.
You know who hasn't played with any of them either? Heidi.
You're going to say Heidi.
And Jenna's played with Kathy. We don't need to see that show again. Played with Tina. I mean, they didn't interact, but I mean, if I'm going to give you my 2 picks here, it's Tina and it's Heidi.
See, I think it's got to be, it's either got to be Tina and Jerri or it's got to be Tina and Cass. Just because I honestly cannot say that Heidi is more legendary than Cass or Jerri. Like I cannot.
But Kelly Wentworth isn't more legendary than Jerri. We have her on the season.
That's why I want to put Jerri on there.
We've seen Jerri play 3 times. I don't need any more Jerri.
You just have such an infatuation with Heidi. Here, let's read some tweets. Mexican Candy. Jerri definitely deserves to make it over Heidi, no question. Also, Ozzy is 100% someone who should be on a Legend season. That's a perfect freeze.
I get it. Like, Jerri is a legend. Like, total legend. But we've seen her play 3 times. Like, her arc is perfectly ended. Why ruin that?
She got 4th place. She lost. So then why don't you put Cass on? Her arc isn't perfectly ended. She's more of a legend than Heidi.
Yeah, I just think Cass would bring more of the same, and just she'd be like one of those kind of, we got to really watch out for Cass. If Heidi's on there, like then it's just all.
But then you sit there and say we really got to watch out for Cass when you have Kim, Sandra, Sari, Parvati, Denise, and Wentworth. Everybody's be watching out for them.
Like all of them are like pretty nice. I mean, even Sandra.
Is Sandra really that nice?
I mean, she doesn't
really that nice.
Doesn't like ruin camp life. Like Cass, like gets people in fights. You know,
Sandra burnt a hat.
Yeah, at the last day, she did a good timing.
Screamed at Fair Play that she can get loud too. Like Parvati stirred up a magical pot. Like I don't know, man.
Okay, if you don't, that's fine. If you don't include Heidi, I just think, wow, why don't we get someone from Amazon who hasn't played? Like, hasn't played the game 3 times? Like that's part of the fun with these seasons. You can draw back from like any.
I hear you. Completely hear you. I wrote Heidi down, and I think Heidi ends up being the alternate when one of these people backs out. But I just don't see how you sit there and say, like, yeah, I get she was a part of the biggest moment, but
imagine that in the trailer. Imagine that in the trailer. That is,
and then they show her, and she's like 50 years old now.
Yeah, and it's funny. She can look back on it. She can talk about it. Jeff can bring it up at the challenge. I mean, it would just be like it'd be more. I mean, like you said, these are all people on the villains tribe. We have Courtney, Parvati, Sandra already on this season. You want to add in Jerri? We're going 4 out of the 6 women from the villains tribe.
Then go Cass.
I don't know. Cass just.
Right, we can move Tina.
Cass went down. Cass, remember, she went down.
We're saying Tina though, right?
I want Tina in 100%.
Okay.
And I want Heidi.
So you know what it is with me right now? I know that you put your women's tribe down before we podcasted. And you said, I have the women's tribe. There's no questions asked.
I told you. I think I said it on here. I'm like, I have it. Like, I have the.
I'm making you fight for this because I see all other 9. All other 9, like, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I would have done. But, man, dude, your infatuation with Heidi. What the hell is Steve? Steve's like docking into. I mean,
I don't know. It's just that, like, I don't know how else to say it. I mean,
I know what you're saying. Here's the biggest problem. Let me say this before
again.
You say
I'm not ranking them by legendary. I'm just making.
I know. I get that.
Season.
Let me say this. The reason why I'll let you have Heidi, I'll let you have it, because I know it bothers you. You say stupid things all the time, and I just agree with them to make you feel better. And I'll give you this one too. The reason why I'll give you Heidi is because she's going to be the only player we have on this season who's only played once and didn't win in their one-time play.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'll give you that just because it would add an interesting dynamic to have the person in, like a Kimmy. Because honestly, we didn't get to see much of Kimmy, but in that finale, and even the episode before the finale, we knew Kimmy was playing. Like Kimmy came out guns blazing. Varner came out guns blazing. We hadn't seen them in so long. And now we get to see what are they going to do when they come back. And they did do something, and it made a cool storyline because they were so far removed from the game. So I could see this Heidi thing working on a season where everybody has played multiple times, or if they only played once, they already won.
Yeah, that's like literally I don't want to see Jerri play for a fourth time. I'd rather see something.
But I'm going to say this 100%. If Jerri came back for a Legend season, I would be very happy.
That's fine.
I know you wouldn't, but I would be happy.
No, I'd be happy.
Jerri,
I would
like Jerri a lot in Heroes versus Villains. I really did. I think, like you said, her arc is perfect. I wouldn't mind seeing her play again.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin it. Okay, let's move on to the men. Read off the 8 we have, and then we'll discuss the next 2.
And just let Will win. Richard, Boston Rob, Sesternino, Fair Play, James Russell, Malcolm Tony.
I like it. And I think part of the reason,
2 spots left.
Part of the reason you giving me Heidi is so that now, you can probably say someone and I'll be like, yeah, whatever.
I like when you say yeah, whatever. So I want Baylor bad. But I mean, I think I'm looking at who we have here. We have Colby, we have Rupert, Lex, Ozzy, Penner, Yowman, Todd, Coach, Cochran. I think Yowman's got to get on. Same reasons as Sesternino did not get a chance to play a second time. And he deserves to have a second chance to play. He was one of the most likable people.
Yeah, I'll go Yowman for sure.
I think he has to be on there.
Yeah, 100%. I think we toss Coach right out of there. I guess we're not really – let's look at winners. We have 5 and 5 on the other tribe. Right now, or do we want to keep that even, or – because we start the season 11-9 versus 9, then that can be – I kind of like the 5 and 5.
The only thing is, then that leaves us with just Cochran and Todd.
I think they're both pretty legendary. It's hard to imagine if this season were to happen, Cochran would be on it.
Cochran would be on it, but so would Rupert.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
There's you can't use that argument because Rupert 100% would be on this. So would Coach. So it would be Heroes versus.
Yeah,
I think
that's why I don't know if it would 100% be Rupert Coach. I think I don't know.
We got a comment from the gamer. Hang on, let me see if I can get this. I don't like the idea of a Legend season. For me, it would never work. Most of the Legends have played too many times already. Most of the Legends are also overrated, and the season would feel like Heroes versus Villains all over again. Hence why I'm never doing an intro on it. Well, I guess. But I think that on the women's side, it's different. And on the men's side, it's different too. Richard Hatch was not there for Heroes versus Villains. Sesternino was not there. Fair Play was not there. Malcolm was not there. Tony was not there. Yowman was not there. So that's 6 people. I mean, that's 6 people who weren't on Heroes versus Villains. So it could feel like Heroes versus Villains, but it's really not. So even if you throw in a Coach who was on Heroes versus Villains, yeah, that's your 4th person.
Yeah, I say we stay away. I say we go 3 max on for men and women. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Is there any argument to be made for Lex?
Yeah, there easily is. I mean, the whole Boston Rob All-Stars thing, he hasn't played since season 8. So, it's not like we've seen him over and over again. It wouldn't be like Cochran, who's played twice in the last, 10 seasons. I think
Lex is memorable, man. Everybody remembers the guy with all the tattoos. You know what I mean?
Who else do we have? Let's toss out Cochran. Todd, we can toss him out. I still think we might want a winner, but I would have gone Todd.
We can keep Cochran around. I think Todd falls too much into the Brian Chris thing. I think he just falls into, and that's my favorite season. I think Todd is.
That's fine. Cochran. So we're working with Cochran, Ozzy. and
Lex.
That's kind of like
And we'll
the
throw
final
out
three.
Colby, Rupert, Penner, gone. Just like
Yeah. No, we don't want. Yeah, we don't want the like Gamer Girl said, the same people playing over and over.
I think that the most interesting here, if I had to say who the most interesting would be, I would say Lex is the most interesting.
Yeah, I'll go Lex. I was going to say, I think Lex would be the most interesting.
Because I think Cochran, you've played him. You see him win. Ozzy, we've seen him play 3 times. I think Lex, to get him out there for a 3rd time, possibly have him start off on the tribe with a Boston Rob or a Sesternino or something like that'd be awesome.
We'll have to do another podcast now, making the tribe divisions.
Yeah, right. There you go. I mean, I think that's a solid 20, though. I mean, yeah, it's not what CBS would do at all because there's no way they leave out Rupert. There's no way, they'd probably leave out Colby at this point. I don't think Colby would play anyway. But, like, there's no way they leave out Rupert.
Oh, yeah. A lot of these players wouldn't even play. I think Heidi would, though. I think Heidi, they'd contact her because they could play that in the ads. That's just marketing 101,
That is.
Make people remember the emotions, that they felt when they saw that for the first time. The flashbacks.
I can't wait for all the hatred we get for Heidi making it. Paul Tafoya, sorry, Will, no way Heidi gets in over Jerri.
Hey, I argued it. So, I mean, say what you want. Again, go watch Jerry's 3 seasons. You don't want to ruin that arc. You don't want to ruin it. Okay. I think
you have to come out and win.
Yeah. But, yeah. I mean, like I said, it would be 4 women from Heroes vs. Villains.
All from the Villains tribe, too.
That's, all in the same tribe. Like, that is...
Yeah. I think you'd have Sari from the other one. So... half the female cast would be from Heroes vs. Villains. But this is what you're talking about. There's just less properly edited women that have been on the show. Like they've all been played out. Did you cut out now? Oh, he's back. He's back.
Who would be the last woman from the Villains tribe?
What do you mean?
Who is
it would be Parvati, Courtney, Sandra, and Jerri if Jerri was on.
But who is the other one in the actual season?
Danielle.
Okay. Yeah, we're fine. All right.
Yeah.
That wraps
She's
things
never
up.
making that.
Right.
Yeah.
That wraps things up. I'm not going to turn my banner back on. We will see you.
You weren't
next
even a person.
Wednesday. Next Wednesday. Wow. For the premiere. Get your boot list in. You win a buff.
Comment them on that last video. Get them in there. And, we'll see you next Wednesday. Definitely West Coast time.
All right. See you then.